Hey, and just a quick reminder that the audio-only versions of these Vital MX interviews are available on the Vital MX podcast page. Search for it anywhere you get your pods and let your friends know about it. Hey guys, Dark Side here with Vital MX. This next interview with Garrett Marchbanks is from a recent episode of the Moto X Pod Show. Hope you guys enjoy it. What's going on, Garrett?
Not a whole lot. How about you?
We're doing good, man. First thing I got to ask you is you just came off the open house out at Club MX. How was that?
Man, it's fun. It's a cool, experience. There's a lot of people that come there, get to watch us train and ride for the day. And, it's cool to go watch all the young kids ride and even the older vet guys. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. They get to go ride the big track or training track that we get the train on and also our public track. So
if Joe Public comes to this event, do they actually get it on the track at the same time as you and the other club guys?
If we ride outdoors, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, when I was there, when I signed to the team, I tested during, the open house, and I rode with all the, the general public.
Yeah, I was wondering because I feel like that would go all bad with your teammate Phil. I just think he would I could see him running up on a 15-year-old kid on a 85 and give him the throat slit gesture. Why are you in my way, punk ass kid?
Oh yeah. I mean, he did that to me when I was there as a 12-year-old. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Well, let's talk about you, Garrett. Look, man, you came off this 2022 series, full season outdoors on a 450. You raced obviously indoors on the 250 and a few races on the 450. I assume 23 is 450 all the way?
No.
Oh.
No, we're staying down for 250 Supercross and outdoors next year is up in there. We're not for sure yet.
Okay.
Is it a team deal? Do you like the 250? I know some riders in Supercross don't like the 450. I talked to quite a few of them. Would you rather be on the 450 at times in Supercross, or are you 250 soupy all the way?
Honestly, I wouldn't mind, jumping to the 450 class, but at the same time, I know I still got a lot to prove. I mean, I just turned 21. I'm still really young. I feel like I can, I still have a lot to prove in the lights class. And I mean, I'd really like to get back up there on the podium all the time. And, even hopefully in the next 2 years, I mean, I haven't pointed out besides, I think 1 year. So, I'd like to, go for a title in these next 3 years in the lights class.
Yeah, you finished 8th overall this season, 250 West, and you had 3 fourth places, I think. Did not touch the podium, unfortunately. Do you feel like there was something you learned this season that will progress you this coming season up a couple more steps? Was there, some learning steps that you picked up?
Yeah, I think honestly, just not getting sick.
Oh yeah, you did get sick in a couple rounds. That's right. Yeah. I
got COVID after round 2, and honestly, if you watch Oakland, I faded real hard, and honestly, I could barely do the heat race for how it was, and it was just really hard. I mean, a lot of us got it, and it just kind of wiped us out. And honestly, I didn't really feel 100% until I would say A3.
Okay.
And that's when I felt like I got back to my speed again when I won the heat race and had a killer start, but I hit a rock in the first turn and fell and came from last to 4th again.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, I definitely had the speed. It sucked because I know this year I felt like in Supercross, I had a lot more speed than I did the year prior, but it was just kind of crappy luck, honestly. That's the only thing I could really say. I mean, just getting sick this year, and that's about it, honestly. Just with getting sick in Supercross, and then Salt Lake, I messed my shoulder up pretty good. Luckily, it's all better now, but that was kind of a rough go. I only rode one time during outdoors before Paula. So I got 1 day of training in, and then just kind of sent it and hoped for the best.
That usually goes well.
Oh, for sure.
So you mentioned that you're going to do the 250s next year. What goal factors go into determining what coast you want to do, and do you have any plans to do any 450 stuff in between that? Or
I mean, heck, we don't even know what coast we're doing. it's hard to say. I like either coast. I feel like I'm a good rider on either one of them. 450 stuff, I have no idea. I'd like to, if we're up there in the top 3 in points battling, I mean, that's the goal. I'd prefer just to stay focused on the 250, not ride so much 450 stuff, at Daytona. That stuff's fun, but I feel like I kind of kicked myself in the butt last year going to Daytona just because, we had that 2 or 3 week, I think 2-week break before Daytona after A3. And I was sick during that time and only got a couple days on the bike. And I just felt like we didn't have a lot of time to, prepare on the 450.
Yeah.
And I think I rode 4 days on the 450 before that race. And it was just kind of like, okay, go have fun. And it was like, man, I'm a super competitive guy. And I wasn't really that pumped with my position. And I feel like I definitely wanted to be in that, I'd say 8-5 range in that class, even though for how stacked it was this year. But yeah, it was just kind of a bummer. I just feel like, if we don't have all the parts and pieces, mainly on my part of getting a lot of practice in, it's kind of like, let's just focus on the 250.
Speaking of focusing on the 250, does the SMX stuff, do you think that will affect your decision whether you go to 450 in the outdoors next year again because of the accumulative points to get to the playoff rounds?
Yeah, I'm not sure, honestly. We haven't talked about that. We'll see what we're doing for, those rounds. But yeah, that's honestly something I have no idea on that side of things.
Yeah, I would think that'd be a big deal for club to try to get you guys in the playoffs for the World Supercross Championship. So yeah, the more points you can get, the farther up you are in qualifying. What'd I say?
You said World Supercross.
Oh, they're doing that too. So yeah. Anyway, Super Motocross. Sorry, that betters your chances to qualify higher for the last 3 rounds. I think it's $500,000 to win for the 250 class.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
I think he just decided he's on 250.
He just made his own decision. Yeah.
So earlier you talked about some of the rides that you had last year where you're coming from the back of the pack. When you catch up to somebody who is on your level, does it change your mindset? I know if you're behind like a
lesser
rider, you're like, get out of my way, I'm going. But you catch up to somebody, like Jet or somebody like that, you're like, okay, this guy's on my level. Does it change your mindset on how you pass them or how you race them?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Oh, heck, there's so many rounds. I think, honestly, I don't know how many rounds we did last year. Nine rounds. I think 8 of them I came from damn near last. And just my starts were terrible. And I hopefully we figure them out. And but no, yeah, I'd honestly say, like, once you get around that 7, or I would say probably 6 or 5 range, that's when I noticed it gets pretty hard because, you're spending half the race, passing dudes and, working your way through the pack. And then once you get into that 6th, 7th, 5th spot, it's not even that it's like the same speed. They're just hard enough to make it difficult on you. And sometimes, on certain tracks, if you're already tired by 10 minutes and you're just trying to pass guys, I mean, you don't really realize how much more energy you use when you're coming from way back instead of just starting up in 6th or 7th.
Sure. Yeah.
Making a couple quick passes. I mean, I definitely realized that last year on certain races. I did have good starts on it. It was like, man, that was a lot easier to, take the 4th. Like, yeah, no, it definitely makes a difference. I mean, for me, I'm a bigger, aggressive guy. I have to try a lot harder to hit certain jumps or rhythms compared to other guys. So I'm already using more energy. So if I'm starting way in the back and, passing 15 dudes, by the time I get the 5th, it's kind of like, holy cow, man, we still have, 5 laps to go and I'm trying to, right. Position.
But doesn't it feel so good to pass a bunch of guys like that? Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm slow. When I get out, like in a practice with guys that are even slower and I'm passing guys left and right and I feel like I'm Garrett Marchbanks or Jet Lawrence, I'm like, yeah, I'm a bad dude right now. And then you get to the faster guys that go blowing by and you go, damn, I suck. So I sure like passing a lot of guys. It's fun.
No, it's definitely fun. The first round when you're fresh and, you kind of come out of the gate quick. And some guys, it's the first 2 rounds. Some dudes aren't as fast as others. I always feel like my first 2 rounds are great. I always feel like I'm on it my first 2 rounds. And you definitely notice, like, round 1 to round, say, 7, like round 1, you could pass 8 dudes in 2 laps. And round 8, when everyone's kind of up the speed a little more, everyone's progressed a little bit, it maybe takes, instead of 2 laps, it takes 5 laps. And it's definitely a lot harder once the series goes on also.
Sure.
From a rider perspective, what do you think about the whole season kind of being one thing? And like, how do you look at that? And does that kind of affect any way that you would make your goals for the season or anything?
Man, I know it's kind of silly, but the only thing I kind of get bummed about is it's messing up my my hunting season.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah, but we only get, a month off out of the whole year to go elk hunt. And, that's like my vacation with my friends and family back home. And I remember I was back home on the mountain hunting with my family, and we seen the news on Instagram. Immediately, my dad calls me. He goes, "Are you serious? That ruined our hunt for next year." And I was like, "Yeah, I know. Tell me about it." Yeah, and it's just kind of funny, just like seeing that stuff. But honestly, it's cool. I love racing, all that stuff. I just wish, like there wasn't so many, the World Supercross and, this new thing. I wish it would just be like one good season, and that's kind of it.
As a fan, sure, I'd love for you guys to race every weekend. Even as media, it gives us something to talk about. But as somebody who's become friends with some of you guys, I'm like, look, you don't get the week off. You are working all week training, and then you racing all weekend and traveling. They're like, you don't get weekends off. You don't get time off. So to add another week or 2 or 3 into the season, you have to have some time off.
From a normal person perspective, that, like I don't get a month off, and I pay to ride a dirt bike. So like you could look at it both ways.
You get 2 days off every week normally. Most people get at least 2 days off. They don't.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's fair.
Yeah, they're working day in and day out until the quote unquote off season that now they want people to race all the time in.
Well, Sundays they kind of chill, right?
No, they fly.
Oh, that's true.
And hopefully they recover for a few hours, and then they go back to riding 20 and 30-minute motos on Monday.
Yes. They train
Garrett,
all day
I'm sorry. I had an opinion for a second. I apologize.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you're good. Tell me about it's funny because I was back home, and everyone's like, "Oh, you get time off. That's nice." It's like, yeah, it's only a month. Like last year we got it seems like every year it's, they're taking a week off of our schedule.
Right.
And at my rookie year, my second year, I think we got almost 8 weeks off or something like that, or maybe not that much. I think it was 6 or 7. And then it got cut, and then even cut more. But it's funny, I was back home, and everyone's like, "Oh, how much time you get?" You're like, "Oh, only a month." Like, dude, we never get a month off of work. I'm like, "Yeah, but it's different. Like, we're constantly flying, driving, racing, training. Like, it's totally different on us." Yeah. No, yeah. It's like normal average person, gets Saturday, Sunday off, maybe even sometimes Friday, half day. Like our Fridays are full, travel, racing all day Saturday, travel Sunday. Like, yeah, it's a lot.
Garrett, when I think about the Club MX team and I think about your ride there, I feel like you kind of fit the mold for that team, and it's a good spot for you. Have you had any other offers, and what would it take for you to leave that team since you seem to fit with them so well?
To be honest, I haven't had really that big offers anywhere else. Here it's amazing. You get your freedom, you get to go home, and we're out here in the middle of nowhere, but it's pretty cool. It reminds me of home. You got the trees, not much mountains, but you got the rivers, the creeks, the ponds. You get the fish, and you get all the tracks. Like in Southern California, you got to travel everywhere. You get the same 2 test tracks you ride day in and day out. Here, Brandon Haas is always changing the tracks. We have multiple tracks to train, and even if we get bored of Supercross, we get to maybe ride outdoors once a week or twice a week on the sand track. But besides that, I get along with everyone. Everyone, it's great here. Me and Brandon get along. Me and my mechanic, and the whole crew. We always, they come over, hang out at my cabin on the facility on Sunday. We all watch football together and cook out.
So one of the listeners on YouTube made a comment that led me to a question here, and he was talking about like someone like you evolving into a rider like Chiz, somebody who has a long, consistent program and career that goes on for many years. And I was curious about how someone at your level looks to that? I know your goal, win championship, just like Chiz's was when he was younger. Is that something that if it turns out that way, I'll do that kind of deal?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like it's hard to look at it that way right now just because, I'm 21.
Yeah.
Growing up through the amateur ranks, I was, a really winning kid. Like, I mean, I have 8 titles at Loretta's and a bunch of other titles everywhere else. And, when I rode for Mitch, the plan was to hopefully get a title over there. It never happened. I mean, I did have my breakout year in 2020 and, I felt like that was honestly going to be a really, really successful year for me, especially in outdoors. That was my, go-to thing. But when I blew my knee out, it was kind of hard, but so on. I trained with JB and, he's a dude that's 36, 37 now. I've watched him a bit growing up through the years and, being on, I think it was like BTO, KTM, Honda. He's had some great teams and he's had some so-so teams. And, you watch him and you talk to him and, he's had a very successful career and it's been a very long career also. I mean, if the, my career didn't go exactly like I wanted with, wins and titles, I mean, I definitely want it to be just like Justin Brayton. I mean, to just race and race and race and race and make a living out of it.
Yeah, it'd be great to be Eli Tomac, but that's such a small percentage of guys at your career that are the Eli Tomacs. So to have a long career that's fairly injury free, making a decent living, there's nothing wrong with having that as a goal.
Yeah, I don't know at the moment though. I mean, I don't want to look at it that way, being kind of like the 5th, the 10th place guy.
Sure.
I know like my results, a lot of people, give me a hard time. They're like, well, you don't deserve to be on a factory ride or you don't deserve the club ride this year because you didn't, do better than Enzo or this guy or that guy. And you're like, man, I mean, I DNF'd 3 rounds. I had 3 top or 4th place finishes, had a heat race win, I was sick a lot of the Supercross season, which sucks, and I hate making excuses. But, I mean, a lot of us, we've all watched top guys have the flu or the cold. I mean, they've taken 14th that night.
Yep.
And,
yeah,
I mean, I don't know. But
anybody who's telling you that you don't deserve the factory ride, those people are trolling you, I promise you, because there's
100%. But it's just funny because ever since, I'd say, 2019, it's been that way. And, at 17, 18 years old at the time, I mean, you have a lot of pressure on your plate.
Of course.
And it's just, that's all I've pretty much had my whole career is just a lot of pressure, a lot of people, all eyes on you to do better and better and better. And especially coming over here, I mean, we're such a small team. I podiumed round 1 and we never got back to that point. I mean, that first year here at club, we had definitely probably 2 other podiums I could have gotten. I crashed out and it was definitely hard, especially this year, not getting a podium at all. Every year I've raced, I've gotten at least 1 podium and, I don't know. I mean, like I said, just keep trucking along, keep doing my thing. Just get back on the box where I belong. I know I belong up there with those top 3 guys in the mix and, hopefully make a run at it this year, if not for sure next year.
I saw you taught a couple schools. It seemed like you enjoyed it because I think you even added one on after the first one. Just talk about teaching and, how if you enjoy that or not.
Yeah, honestly, like, man, I love teaching kids and even like the older guys, younger dudes. And it's just something I love to do. A lot of people helped me out as a young kid. And for me to go home and, like I said, we don't get a lot of time off, but a lot of people always hit me up for classes back home. We usually get, 10, 15, 20 kids out there at a local track in Wyoming. We put on little schools and the first one was a huge turnout. My buddies helped me set that up and I don't know. It's just something I love to do. That's something I'd like to do when I retire. And, just teaching's fun, watching a kid that, whatever wasn't very good at the beginning of the day. And after a 3-day camp, starts hitting jumps and turning a lot better. It's pretty cool to watch and know that you helped someone get that much better in 3 days.
Yeah, that's good to hear, man. I think those kids need that. Kids look up to you. So that's really cool that you're trying to give back a little bit. And yeah.
What do you like about working with J Mart this upcoming season? What do you think about being teammates with him?
J Mart's awesome. I rode with his brother Alex for a while, and Alex taught me a lot. And just getting to hang out with them during the summer. And Jeremy's a very intense dude in practice, and that's how I am in practice also. And it's definitely cool to have someone that's kind of like on my level of the intensity and will push myself. And I feel like I push him a little bit. I know he's like, the bad dude on outdoors, and it's hard to keep up a little bit. But, on Supercross, I feel like we had a couple of good battles in 2020 and the past couple of years. And even now, I mean, we've been pushing each other, and it's only day 4 on Supercross. And heck, it's been a lot of fun. Him and I get along super well. And I'm super excited to work with him this off season, and hopefully we push each other and we crush it.
That's what I was about to say. I think that you guys are going to push each other to the front. That's going to be really cool to see. All right, we got one more. We had a listener question, and you may not even want to respond to this, but one of our listeners wants to know a 1-word description of Mitch Payton.
I thought he hung up.
Yeah, I thought he did too.
No. I mean, he's a really good dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I got along with him really well.
Yeah.
No issues with him. I mean, even after everything 2 years ago with the whole Atlanta incident, I mean, heck, his kids are always talking to me, hanging out with me. And no, I mean, I have no issues with him. I mean, very good dude and good family.
Yeah, I think there's a general thought that maybe you guys really parted on bad ways. I know we've talked about this actually in the past, but I think some people still thought there might have been some bad blood there. But yeah, none.
No, I mean, it's sad that people think that because,
Yeah.
I mean, heck, after Bud's Creek, after the races, I went over to the pit and talked to him, and, he was just sitting there by himself, and I just thought it'd be a good time to just talk to him. I haven't talked to him in a few months, and yeah, we talked for probably 20 minutes just talking about family, life, and stuff
That's
like
great.
that. And yeah, no, I mean, it sucks that people think we part on bad ways. I don't think there was anything like that. I think just me at the time, I was a young kid. I wasn't very social. I didn't go to the shop a lot, like the other pros would, and, go hang out. I think that's what people thought of me as being a rude kid and not wanting to, be social. I was just, when you're young, you just kind of stick to yourself and you do your own thing. And yeah.
Nothing wrong with that, man. Nothing wrong. I appreciate you explaining that, though. It means a lot. And I thank you for responding to the text and coming on the show tonight.
No, thank you for having me, and have me whenever.
Absolutely, dude. We'll hit you up as it gets closer to Supercross, and we'll definitely see you at A1. Or, well,
all right,
maybe we won't if you're riding east, but we'll see you when we see you.
All right. Sounds great. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Garrett. See ya.
Yeah.